Okay, so we are in this. Let's call it a third of a game, or probably won't even be that because that's almost like it's an hour. But this will
Yeah,
be a
most of these things will probably take between 20 and 40 minutes at best.
yeah. It's get them out of there, and let's get the players in. So you got Sade. You should be able to control that.
Oh, neat.
Um, and NPCs here. Oh wait, they're in nobles, aren't they?
I wonder if this will change my name too. Nope, it doesn't. Neat.
Mr. Easy.
Maybe you should, is it supposed to show nameplate? I
Uh,
can't make it work.
yeah. Hang on. I don't think I've done the show nameplate
Yeah.
thing. There we are. Show
Well,
nameplate.
you don't need to do it on, you don't need to
Yeah.
let everyone see it, I guess, because it all makes sense on the recording,
Mm.
because you can see it. So
It's
you might want to widen me up a bit too.
oh you can you not? Oh, you can't.
No, I can't change the size of the tokens.
Okie doke.
Also, if you want to make actual tokens, that's also a thing. I can make a token stamp for you later.
Yeah. Well, we got the There's the general one, isn't there? But yeah, it might be a good idea to upload one of
A new
those.
one, yeah. I'll do that.
And where is
I'll give it to you after we're done with this.
you?
But just to update her and give you something to use as a universal token when needed. I like how Storfy is. Aw. This otter seems to be enjoying my rule set.
It's a good rule set. Um,
Real. There's certain things that AD&D forces you to do, such
mm,
as travel, eat, and things, and it's not really what you think about in 5e, but the reason why it forces you to do that is because there's just so little. So you have to come up with it yourself.
yeah.
And these are the things I came up with when I was running it, when I was DMing AD&D for first edition for 4.5 years. I came up with so much more little esoteric things, but that just was stuff that only my parties, which were the same 6 people every time, would need to know. And most of them made it up themselves, so it wasn't very important. But these things I feel should be universal in the games I'm playing, because they're just not.
Yeah.
They're not bad.
Anyway,
They're not bad.
this game because recording.
Yes.
But yeah. We will just say that the meeting with Switch was successful.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yes.
Because it will be.
Yes,
Inevitably.
it will be inevitably. There's literally no way that you can't just make it successful.
Succeed. Right.
Um,
Unless he is a Godbound. Dun, dun, dun. Someone has to be. I know it. I feel it in my bones.
oh, they're around.
Or I'm coming for them, rather. It's hard to tell at the moment. We're just neighbors. Okay, ho, neighbor. How's your God garden doing? Oh, it's going great. Look at all these swords I'm growing.
Oh god, actually, that's probably a thing that you could do with like fertility and sword, of like growing grass blades.
Yes, we literally could. Not only could they just be grass blades, they could be literal swords that grow from seeds.
Yep.
Again, it could be anything.
It really could. But yeah, so it went successfully, and you have. As you're coming to the, I believe you said that you wanted to do this in the town square where you had your bath before, or will
No,
no? It
I
was
wanted to do it nearby in the burned out church where
in the
it's private.
that's it. Yes, the
gigantic wall.
oh yeah. So the guards have been well informed beforehand, and they nod to you slightly as you walk in, and then they actually do step away as you walk through.
There is an interesting question I wanted answered. You can tell Pip whether you get what answer you get or not. But guards consider themselves in any way a warrior.
Some of them may.
Do the guards consider themselves in any way a soldier?
I don't think they consider themselves a soldier, but a warrior, yes.
Okay, well that's um, so there's kind of a broken ability I personally have, and
Mm.
I genuinely took it like a couple levels ago. It called where is it?
I
Voice of
remember you
Yeah, this one. I think you'll like this one.
you
This is
mentioned
literally it doesn't cost me any effort to do.
I believe you mentioned this to the butler because you're like, are you a warrior or a soldier? And it's like, no. But,
Yeah,
mm,
she was kind of drunk at the time.
yes.
But yeah, that's just something that she's capable of doing. Literally, anyone that considers themselves a soldier or warrior, she can just tell them to do something, and they will do it, even if it is suicidal. They will do it to the
Mm.
best of their ability and judgment. Like they will try their best, and they will do it. If I tell them to kill themselves, they will literally take a knife and drive it into their throat or
Mm.
brain. Anyway, and that's an action. I don't have to do effort for that. I can just do that. Anyway, sorry. So we pass by and we're entering the grounds.
Yeah.
What time of day is it? I'm guessing
I,
we went there at night, so it's probably early morning.
no, because you were in the middle of the day for tea time. Remember? It's
Yeah,
actually
but when we went to switch, it was supposed to be at night. We were meeting
yeah.
more around night,
It
and then we were
was
gonna make day.
afternoon,
So,
so it's dark by now. It is like it's early night.
okay,
The
okay. So we
yeah,
met switch in the afternoon, and then nightfall happened after we set the date, and then
yeah.
we went around and told people when the date was going to be. And then I took a little bit of time to go annoy them before the trial happened,
Mm.
which is probably going to be this morning. So
Yeah, either this morning or the afternoon, but I do feel it is going to hit soon. But yeah, the
very.
as you walk in, you see that Easy is standing in a set of rather new-looking robes, um, and the same goes for Smithson. He's in much grander robes, as to say.
Right, craftsman making good robes. It makes sense.
Yes, it looks like he's perhaps paid a bit more for his. And you do notice that the bard is there, uh,
Mm,
and
she would.
yeah, Odysseia. She like Easy gives you a bit of a nod and like I invited Odysseia. I thought it important for for the first time.
That is. Well, I suppose someone needs to write it down. I give it to see a wink. I'm guessing you guys are going to see what everyone else is up to, but I'm glad you came to me today. I wanted to say a few things, I suppose, but first I go up to Easy and I look at his robes, and I go up to Smithson and I look at his robes. I see.
And,
And then I'll say like, I guess that makes sense.
so I believe the colors you wanted were like
Oh, it's not the
grey.
colors.
Yeah,
The colors are perfect. You guys did a magnificent job. I applaud your efforts. You really came through for me. I'm very grateful, actually. It's more like ritualistic mindset. Does that make sense? And a specific form of sorceristic theurgy. Oh my god, where am I getting this stuff? Um, the ritualistic mindset is important because it's not just the ability to cast a formulaic spell, but you also perform it within a certain specific set of mental subtext and context. Specifically, you put on the robes because you're doing a ritual, not because they're ritual robes. So I was thinking maybe dress code later, we change that, because robes kind of aren't my thing. But thank you, they do help.
And yeah, Odysseia gives a little nod and a smile, like it always changes. And my how should I address you now? Is it my goddess, justice, miss? Like, what would you prefer?
I think about it like I steeple my fingers, placing them to my lips, thinking about it.
Mm.
I have actually been giving that some thought. People can call me Justice, or, and I look at her like directly, Help. HELP is what I said. Help.
I like it. Fitting.
Yeah, it's very fitting.
She makes some notes and
It's not just fitting, but practical, I say as I turn to Smithson.
yeah.
Besides, who doesn't want help?
And
Smithson!
Smithson gives a nod. Yeah, he reaches out, and you notice that it's got this custom sheath that he's created. It's a
That is beautiful.
yeah. I could only work so quickly with it. I
You
could
really are the master craftsman. This is unbelievably gorgeous.
well, I haven't been able to work on the sword yet, so I thought if anything, I'd make a sheath for you.
It's fair. Well, there are a few things we need to go over before we start. More importantly, I would just like to know how everyone's doing right now. It's kind of a momentous moment in all of your lives, and I'm starting to realize that perhaps I'm not as part of it as I think I am.
And
So, how are you feeling, Smithson? You're enjoying yourself?
my wife's very proud of me. He says,
That is good. I gently clap him on the shoulder.
Hmm.
My tiny, tiny little 5-foot self claps the giant man on his shoulder.
Hmm.
That's very nice. I turn to Easy. Like, see, he's doing well. What about you, Easy? How are you doing? I know it's been stressful for you lately.
Easy's chewing his fingers a little bit and like, well, I admit it's been a stressful day. I've known you, but it is fascinating to see it all working so quickly. I'd rather avoid the that he looks around a little bit the house situation. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, I'd rather avoid these, but these are it is always wonderful to see this, let alone be involved. He motions to himself. I got myself some robes. I hope you don't mind too much.
not at all. Thank you very much.
It's yeah. I thought it felt a bit fitting. Yes, uh, like like Odysseus said, and Odysseus seems to smile a little bit because she knows that she's about to get some praise. And it's it can change. All of this can change rather quickly, especially the first one. That you get it repeatedly. The first blessings are often clumsy, uncertain, ill-refined. It's a natural thing. It's but even in the Iron General Bible, it's very rarely
Right.
done properly. But I
But
thought
it's not done. Yes, I
yeah,
understand.
but we should. I thought we should start off on a good foot, so to say, and I think this is a
In the
good one.
ruins there remains my enemy power, as I am myself a goddess of complete and utter destruction. I wish it was something else, but it makes sense.
Smithson kind of pauses, and you see he's got his pipe out, and he was about to light it for a second, like, and then like, well, lass, you got a strong arm. Have you ever considered taking up smithing?
I actually have. There's. It might be for the wrong reasons, but I've always wanted to make things rather than break them. And wouldn't it be nice to have my own abilities to make weapons, talents, skills? You'd be surprised how fast I could become a master craftsman. Smithson. Maybe not, now that we all know, but it would be fun, and I would enjoy it if you don't mind tutoring me.
He nods a little bit, like, of course, lass. It's I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to give you the kind of level that gods could achieve, but um, I
It only
think
needs to start. A master smith one day met the goddess of war and justice, and he himself taught her how to make weapons and armor. And then she, I mean, just like that, you know what I mean? It's crazy. I bet the bard will write it down correctly. How are you feeling, Odysseus? Are you all
oh,
right?
don't pay attention to me. Bards tell stories, dear. We're not in the stories. This is
That's
yours, all yours.
the, that bardic tale. Am I right? And bardic tale is a fantasy term for the magnum opus of a bard that they've been writing all their lives until they die.
And
This is
yes,
like a massive thing. It's out of character. It's like the
yeah,
bardic tale. Am I right?
yeah. The I think Terry Pratchett had a very similar thing of just
Yeah.
like I'm just a
Try
bard.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually probably got that from TNT.
Oh yeah, no. He takes a lot from
That's fair. All right, so I'm
everything.
gonna I'm
So
gonna wave my hands at all. Okay, we're about to start. This is going to go on until midnight, I hope, because at midnight we should be getting some guests. going to tell the guards a few things, and then we will start. So, Hog, as I'm walking about to tell the guards, do you remember the influence project I have going at all times?
No, which one's...
Within
Oh, the
24
army, yeah.
hours. Which means that it will be 24 hours at midnight.
Okie doke. Very nice.
So, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. So you should be having an army show up around midnight.
Yes, I should have anyone who wants to fight for me. And anyone capable of being a lieutenant or anyone skilled professionally should try to introduce themselves, or will try to find a way to introduce themselves personally. Yeah. So basically, everyone who wants to fight with me, basically, will circle probably around the old theater as I'm anointing my priests and whatnot, and at the same time, a couple or one or three or whatever lieutenants will show up and introduce themselves personally. Anyway, I'm gonna tell the guards that if anyone comes by and says they should be coming in to see me, let them in.
They'll give a nod and yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I head back in and say, all right, how do we do this? Do we need a fire? Do we magical fire? I got fire. Trust me, I got fire for days.
There's a little moment of Smithson, could you perhaps help us pile up... there's still some ruins around, and he looks around, and he's like, yeah, so there's still a few items. We could use the charcoal from the burnt timbers, and I think there's a fireplace over there, and like...
You cast a miracle to literally gather everything up with the... I don't know... Just literally try to use all my godly power to gather everything in one place. Because I guess the apotheosis word, if anything, because this is my ritual, just let it all stand up at attention and just start marching over to a pile to build itself like one of those Viking funeral piles. It's like, you know what I mean, like the squirters.
Yeah. So you make the wood itself stand and march over and pile itself into this. It's a fireplace that's been left behind because it's one of the few places that are built to withstand quite a bit of heat.
Then I walk over to it and dust my hands off.
And Smithson kind of goes over to it, and he pulls out the sword, and then you see he has to reach in to the sheath to grab the end because the entire thing is in there. It's just not...
you had to measure it to make sure it would work.
Yes. And it's a sheath for the full sword, not just the broken one.
Like Easy said, it's like, oh, it didn't just come out easy. So he has to turn it up and down and shake it to get it out, and it clicks on the floor. Yeah, because it never goes right the first time.
he probably like tips it up slightly and then catches it in one hand. He's quite the strong guy, but even then, like he carefully places both parts on top of the mantelpiece, and then he nods and like, I brought some supplies as well. Nods over to a corner where there's a few smithing supplies from his. Like, thought I'd try and mend it with this.
Of course. Easy. How do we begin the anointing before we start the forging?
Easy kind of lets a little breath and, well, what do you feel is important to you? What words do you want to say to him? This is your ceremony. This is what...
It's my show.
Yes.
Alright, I got it. Just, I guess this will have to work. And I walk up to Smithson and I ask him, are you ready?
Smithson nods and is like, should I get my hammer?
No. I want you to take my hands first. And I offer my dainty little hands and gloves.
His very large hand comes out, but it's, palm up kind of thing, as if, it's not...
Yeah. I want him to give me both of his hands.
Okay. He
so
sticks...
I place my hands on his palms and I say, hope this isn't too clumsy. I say very quietly to him, smiling, Smithson, you are the first and the greatest of all craftsmen to the gods and pantheons that exist today. I think everything you've been through, and I don't know what it was. I don't know what made you who you are today. as every human being has changed and strived and became a better person over time, you seem so capable, stoic, and understanding, yet loving, caring, and perfectly harmoniously balanced, as if the world itself could not shake your faith in what you think. And so few people have that level of certainty and confidence. I don't know if even you are aware of it, but it seems like a nice thing to have. More importantly, a sort of focus that requires the attention of a master craftsman. There is no greater fear in you. There is an unflappability that can only be described as utmost courage. Hell, it isn't even courage. You just don't care enough to be afraid. What mattered to you than anything is I don't know. Not even my godly powers can give me insight into who you really are. But what I know, Smithson, is that you want to make something. And out of everything I've done, I would like to make something too. Something great, something better. And perhaps it's just the knowledge that we make weapons, that people make weapons to kill, that you have indirectly caused the amount of suffering that you could never, ever truly know. But you lived with that fact your entire life in an unflinching, wavering level of craftsmanship. I adorn you, and I adore you, and I anoint you as the High Master Smith, the Pantheon and the God Church of Lady Justice. And please, Smithson, do all your work in the name of good and just. And I grip his hands, and I guess my hands just catch fire? Well,
Mm-hmm.
because I can, basically any part of me can catch fire at any time, but they don't
Yep.
burn anything I want it to.
Yeah.
And then I grip his hands and I pull him closer, and then I gently pull down the center of his robe.
Mm.
Don't flinch. And I gently,
Mm.
without actually hurting him and not burning him at all,
Mm.
inscribe upon his chest the mark of the broken sword,
Mm.
like a tattoo.
I'm guessing it kind of looks like ash as your kind of.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like an ash mark that was burned on, but doesn't hurt.
Mm.
Because if you read over my religion, it just says everyone has a mark if they are a priest of me.
Mm.
Usually an actual tattoo, not directly inscribed by the goddess herself. And then, when it's over, I gently snuff my hands and I pat his shoulders. There. Help you feel better. Do I actually give him the mark of the prophet during this?
If you desire to, yes.
I mean, are we high enough level for that is my question.
Which one's a mark of the prophet now?
I don't remember. I have to find the book because I didn't open it.
It's hang on. Whoopsie doodle. Under apotheosis.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's Mark of the Prophet. It's something else. Maybe it's Mark of the Prophet. Let me check. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's Mark of the Prophet. That's 6th level.
6th level. Let's just say that this.
It's still a blessing. I can give him commitment dominion if you want me to. I have some.
No. Let's just say that this will turn into a mark of the prophet when you get to that level.
Well, if you're sure, the Godbound consecrates. If you read it off, he becomes super powered. He literally becomes heroic, mortal. Instantly.
He isn't at the moment, but when you get to 6th level, would you like it to turn to a mark of the prophet?
I probably will do that. I can make I can make a number of heroic mortals level to equal to half my level, rounded up. So and I make a specific person my high priest, and that person there, so I can make 4 at the time, and he could be 1. And I'm guessing Daisy's gonna be high priest. But anyway, later on when I get around to her, if I can talk her into it, I'm not gonna force it.
Smithson does pause and do I speak?
If you want to. Anything to say?
We have only known each other for a short while, but you have already done much good in this land, and I see what perhaps some don't, which is the effort that you're going through. The changes. I've overheard a few times, and you mentioned to.
You can actually see my eyes falling up with tears because he admits that he sees more than just a child, and I'm just trying not to cry, but doing a very good job of it.
And he's nods and it's heartbreaking to know you in many ways because were a little girl, and now you are so much more than that, and you've been forced to. I wouldn't even say grow up. Grow up is to, and you've taken the shoulder of much burden by this, and you talk of your knowledge of war, of pain, of death, of suffering, so much. I've seen the people you surround yourself with, and I am blessed to be with them. I know of Daisy, of Jim, who we talked with. These are not people of war. You surround yourself with people who have what you don't. You could easily surround yourself with killers, with powerful people. Like you said, I am someone who is supplied much that can cause misery. But I am given this chance, this redemption for it, to be able to give what is good. And that is what you request of me, and that is what I shall do. Because it is not just what is good, but creation, the change. Together, we will forge a new land. And it is more than just war, because you have me by your side. I will help you build, and I will help you make. As much as I can.
She seems so happy at that moment. She gets tears in her eyes, and she's like, "Thank you. I'm very grateful."
Yeah, he nods and looks down his hands, and you notice that some of the fire that you held his hands in, which he didn't flinch at all throughout this entire thing, though that may have been your fear word, counting him as an ally where he wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
I
love that I could take fear and just turn it into courage.
Yep.
Because it is courage.
You see that there's fire still lingering on his hands that doesn't seem to be flickering or fading. He's like, now you've given me quite the blessing, Mom. Justice.
I smile and I try not to look too surprised because I didn't mean to do
that. He nods and's like, I believe it is time that we start mending your sword.
Yes it is. Everybody gather around. This is going to take at least a second. She stretches and cracks her elbow like she's about to get ready to do calisthenics because she doesn't have that sense of propriety despite how she dresses. She just can literally crash through one of these walls even though it's solid stone if she wanted to. She likes physical stuff.
Yeah.
She always has.
Yeah.
It's just now it's more intense than that. And so, we start forging the sword. How does that go?
Smithson goes to his supplies and he pulls out it's not a big hammer. It's not a exceptionally strong looking hammer, but it's an old looking hammer. It's the kind of one that he's used for years. It's sturdy and it's strong.
Time to make an artifact.
But yeah, it's not. But it's not a. It's sturdy and strong, but yeah, it's not magic.
It's a reliable hammer that never broke on him or never was ruined by anything.
It's not a magical artifact. It's what you need, which is something sturdy. Yeah. No.
His divine clerical tools. Anyway,
and he also pulls out a bag of it's kind of like metal, and he nods and like, I spoke it over with the wife. Ceremony to fix a sword like this regularly will be impossible. But this is more than just regular work. And you see he pours out into an iron bowl, that they heat metal with and to melt it down. He seems to be pouring out a collection of gold and silver into there, shavings. It'll
be awesome. I'm sorry to say this, but what if his wife is just passed away and he keeps referring to as if he spoke to her, but it was just the wisdom he once gave her, or she once gave him. And it's like it's just beautiful because he's like, oh,
Mm.
she's no longer with us. You can't meet her. One day I was like, I would love to meet your wife. It's like, oh, she's
Well,
years, but yeah,
we'll see.
I just think
Yeah,
it would be cute. Anyway, so yes, so
yeah,
pulls the gold and silver.
and silver, and then he reaches out with. Do you wish to use your effort to light the fire? The
Yeah, I can actually literally commit effort at any time to burst into flames and then retract
mm,
it, so I can again use it over and over as long as I have a little. So
because
yeah, I will
yeah,
commit effort and then reach in and light the fire in the
mm,
stone furnace.
he's going to get some bellows from his pack and blow to heat it up.
You know what's
While
crazy is that at first, Sade thought this would be like some kind of weirdly spiritual hush kind of thing, but
mm,
no, it's just work. It's important, focused work, and she's starting to realize like she's done a lot of hard work in her life, obviously, but she's never like made anything
mm.
before. She's like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is way better than ceremony and pomp and circumstances. This is getting down with your hands and knees and
Yeah.
creating something.
So he's blowing the billows and then he looks to you slightly like I can't maintain this temperature without while putting the metal in. Would you be willing to take the billows?
Absolutely. I say as I stand up, dousing my hands and going over. How
Yeah.
do I do it? It's like
Uh, he
he
just
instructs me, I guess.
yeah he instructs you like he shows you like just these great big kind of puffs to keep the temperature going, and then gets the metal and sticks it in, holds it in with his bare hand, which doesn't seem to be burning at all as he holds it into the like holds the melting pot in. After a little while, because gold and silver both melt rather quickly,
Yeah,
they
yeah, they have a low melting point.
yeah, he pulls it free and then starts to get to work at the sword. I'm not going to describe too much on like how he works on the sword because I'm not 100% myself on how to do it.
Oh,
But yeah,
if
he
you want me to do it, I can
yeah,
explain a little bit. I actually did a
yeah,
lot of black when I was a. I've done a lot of things, and I used to think that it was boring. When I was 24, I wanted to get away not because of all the things that happened to me, but because I just thought my life was boring. Like,
yeah.
oh, this would happen to anyone, you know? It's like, oh, I'm so boring, nothing interesting happens. And years later, I'm finding out I'm the most interesting man alive. So, yeah, so what he would do is because
Mm,
how you would reforge a sword in that manner, you
mm,
want to make sure the edges are like sharp. What you would do is you would blunt it first,
mm,
not like overall, but where you were to fix it. You
mm,
would bind it with, because of the godly stuff, I would imagine that silver and gold, and it
mm.
wouldn't really matter that much because this metal would just. The reason why you make swords out of steel is because iron rusts,
Yeah.
copper breaks, and bronze certainly as fuck breaks.
Mm,
Steel actually has a flexible give to it, so you know you could move it around and like it doesn't like it will flop a little bit in your hands because it's such a long sword, but it's not
mm,
meant to actually be rigid because if it was, it would break like it was made out of glass.
mm,
Anyway, so it was important that you would like cover the crack with the metal you were about to refuse it with
mm.
because you wouldn't usually refix a sword. You would just make another one.
Yeah.
But if you were to like because the tip might break off at times, like that would happen a lot, especially with swords.
Yeah.
Is that you would use the area with metal and like give it nice and flat
Mm,
on the sides that it was on because it would lump up like a lot,
mm,
and then you would grind it down, and then you would put more on to make sure it was like solid. Then you would give it like a test swing, grind it down again, and then like sharpen the entire edge again.
mm.
And that should make a clean thing. And if you were to do that, you probably would repaint or remake the sword in some way because grinding it down makes it flat. But with the silver and gold, it would be very visible.
Mm.
Of course, if you don't care, then it's fine.
Yeah. So it very much looks like almost like a bandage of silver and gold around the sword. Then, as he needs to, as you said, uh, blunt the ends and fix it with the. So you wind up with this big band of silver around the like right near the end of the sword.
Yeah, most of the time you would just want to melt the metal,
Mm,
refuse it together, make sure it's set in a crucible, which is the
mm,
thing swords are poured into. The problem with reforging a sword is that more often than not,
Mm.
it becomes more impure, and the material you use has to be of higher quality. Otherwise, the sword would be even weaker at that
Mm.
break because steel doesn't fuse together. You have to remelt all of it and
Mm.
then pour it again. But
It's a
because
yeah.
legendary magical artifact doesn't really matter.
Yes, it's very much it is very much like looks like, not if not a bandage, then like a
Yeah, I like that idea
yeah.
as a restoration. Yeah, like
uh,
a bandage
yeah,
almost.
it's like a bandage of the like or like a band that, you know, holds broken bones together, kind of thing, that
Yeah, yeah,
is
like a cast.
yeah, a cast or a like a yeah, one of the solid metal
Like,
bands, kind of thing. So he
yeah,
yeah, it seems like one of them that's around it, and he pauses as he kind of looks at it and seems to be thinking for a moment, like, this isn't quite done. Though it's still hot, but it's not. No, it's still hot, but it's not uh, blistering. Like it's
yeah. I
semi
can't be
liquid, but it's setting rather quickly.
Yeah, I
Um,
can't be hurt by smoke or fire.
mm,
So I move over and I touch it gently, and I'm like, I don't try to touch it too hard, get my
mm,
hand close, so I don't want to touch it because it would smear
mm,
the entire thing and leave a literal fingerprint in the middle
mm,
forever.
mm,
So maybe it's not just the weapon, the design,
mm,
it's the style of it. Look at what he made. He made a weapon to kill people, but I want to save them. We healed it. We healed the weapon, but we need to change it a little bit. And look down at the this maker's mark. We need to change that.
mm.
And then I think maybe we should inscribe justice into the word in the blade, or courage into the word in the blade. Just in whatever language we're using, I would just
Yeah.
with this a little bit of advice, I would just say I could cut
Mm.
the word courage into it with my fingernails,
Um,
and I think it's appropriate.
he shakes his head a little bit and is like, no, it needs to be whole now. But you're right. It needs. Like, he gets some more of the silver that's been left over, and he starts to he first of all, he does pour silver over the um
I'm
uh,
guessing an executioner's blade is made with just regular carbonized steel,
mm,
which is just what steel is,
yeah,
but it's like the base version of it
mm,
instead of like the 402 gauge brand or whatever the hell they make buildings out of.
mm,
And I'm guessing he just wants to recast it because you can plate
mm,
a sword
mm,
with stuff. So I'm guessing he just covers the edge with gold
mm,
because that would be very easy to do because gold is very easy to grind down. It just wouldn't be a
yeah,
very good idea if the sword would break.
yeah,
But then he could cast the middle with silver
mm,
up to the bandage part, and then
mm,
you know
yeah.
while it's setting, he could inscribe whatever he wants on it because it wouldn't be very difficult.
Mm. You do notice as he's like pouring some out, there seems to be an awful lot of silver coming out of that crucible for the small
Yeah,
amount that you're that he put
using.
into. Yeah, so he keeps pouring more and more, and you notice that as he's like crafting that like silver blade with the gold kind of dulled edges,
Mm-hmm.
and where the maker's mark of the Iron General is, you see it. The silver isn't pouring over there effectively. Every time he tries to, it slips to the side, and it's like it's avoiding. And then he lets out a frustrated sound, and then just and he gets his thumb. He sticks his thumb directly into the silver
The
pot.
silver.
He pulls it out, and he just presses his thumb down over the maker's mark, and you see it resisting for a second before it just and you see like he pulls his thumb back and shakes it ever so slightly to clean the last of the silver off, and there's a giant thumb mark on where the Iron General's mark used to be.
I
And,
like it.
so yeah, he kind of pauses, and then yeah, he pauses, then reaches out and gets some water and like
Yeah,
yeah,
what's it called? There's a specific word. I think it's break.
tempering.
That's not it. It- Tempering, I think, is when you
Yeah.
reshape the sword,
Mm.
but this is when you cool it down to quickly turn it into hardened metal.
Mm.
Because if you don't do it, it will catch fire.
Yeah, yeah. So he's
And
cooling it rapidly.
usually douse it. Yeah, you douse it in an oil bath, not actual water, but
Mm.
oil.
Oh yeah, so he's pulling out like this mixture of oil and water that he's kind of anointing it with, really. That you know, just again sweeping it across the sword, cooling it down, flipping the sword over until it's still quite hot, but like he
Yeah,
holds.
it would be freaking nuclear
Yeah.
still. Melt any of those things or grind any of the like even
Mm.
grinding is so hot you literally
Oh
can't
yeah.
even go near it.
Yeah. So yeah, he pauses and then holding like he raises the sword up to stand on its tip and
Mm.
lets it go, and it just hovers there on the tip,
Oh,
like, and
I
then he
tilt my head
yeah,
like back and forth like what the hell?
balance. He said, simply just balance, and then he takes a step back and
I'm
uh,
going to take a step forward and look
mm,
at my sword. What does it look like?
um, silver middle, gold edges. It doesn't seem sharp, but you've never really worked with sharpness.
No,
Um,
not at all. In fact, I don't. The thing is, it's very easy to make a blunt weapon. It's very
mm.
actually hard to make a sharp one.
It could be sharpened if need be. It's
Yeah,
still
but the thing
it's yeah.
is like it would take a whole grindstone just to
Mm.
do that, like an actual grindstone. You
Oh
have to
yeah, yeah.
wear it all the way down just to sharpen this big of a sword.
He nods slightly to it, and it does feel heavy but balanced as you hold it.
Why
The
not touch it yet? I'm first gonna make sure
Okay,
we get
yeah.
every detail memorized.
It's almost entirely flawless, except for the thumbprint over where the old Maker's Mark used to be. Um,
Hmm. Does
it's
it keep its bandage thing?
Yes, it keeps this kind of bandage. The metal there seems almost purer, as in like a whiter silver than the rest of it. It's like
Okay.
the rest is kind of a grayer silver and a gold at the edges, but the bandage is
Yeah.
a much
Yeah.
purer kind of silver. And
Yeah. The basic kind of silver you would actually work with
yeah,
if you were to make a weapon out of it, because
definitely.
regular actual pure silver would be like pure. You want purity in the metal that you're
Mm,
using to work with, but because of the way Merker's gold and Worker's silver works, you don't. If you were to use those things in tools or
mm,
weapons or anything that would require heavy extraneous mechanical or electrical use, you would never
mm.
ever make them out of pure. I think the Worker's gold is actually supposed to be between 15 and 16 karat. 24 karat gold would just fucking break the
Yeah,
moment you try to use. You could literally cut 24 karat gold with
it
a knife
it would
because of how much
flop.
more powerful steel is. It would flop. It's
Yeah,
just it's heavy. It's heavy.
mm,
Gold and silver are extremely dense. Like you hold a pound of steel and you hold a pound of gold, and for some reason, gold still feels heavier despite being the same weight
mm,
because it's just so dense, and it would be so little of it. Really,
mm.
it's just like it's a very very dense metal. If you ever
It,
try to carry gold,
mm,
that's why gold is like hidden and stuff. And like,
mm.
don't worry about it. They won't be able to take it anyway. That shit is heavy.
Yeah, it's there is a so there isn't very much gold on it. It's mostly silver
Oh
with
yeah,
like gold at the edges. But yeah,
and it's
so
just completely
yeah,
flawless. And all it has is just like and it's one of those straight fantasy executioner blades, right? It's
yes,
like straight, but
straight.
then it's flat at the edge,
Mm,
like flat at the very tip,
yeah,
where there's nothing there. Okay, so it's just okay, like a cleaver, but with no design.
yes,
And at the very like the hilt is probably humongous because you have to have like a third of the hilt just to make sure the sword has enough counterweight.
yeah,
And with the size of the sword, it would never matter. You would never be able to make a hilt long enough to make it work
mm,
because eventually it's just too long. So it would probably be like might get maybe like a 1.5 No, no, that's actually still too short. Like it's maybe 2 feet sword,
Mm.
and then that way you can have the counterweight, and the counterweight would be at the very end, which
Yeah.
would probably need to be massive, but wouldn't need to be in this
I
case.
believe that, yeah, this the point of this is that you were the counterweight in many points. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
because
if you were to make a
yeah,
sword, well, I would expect Simon the Vast doesn't need a counterweight, so it doesn't
yeah,
actually have. It has like a handle, no guard, no counterweight.
yeah. No guard, no
Okay,
counterweight. It's a flat out executioner's sword. That's
this is meant to be dropped once
yes. It's not meant to be the kind of thing that you bring to fights.
into fight.
Really, this is
Yeah, at all. You would never do that because this sword is first off too heavy.
yeah.
Secondly, the moment you swing it, you're open for like a solid 3 seconds, and
Mm,
then you're already dead by the first 0.5 seconds.
yeah.
Because they would like dodge it because you have to swing so fucking slow.
Yeah.
And if they couldn't, you're already dead, so it doesn't matter. But if they do not get hit by your sword,
Mm.
you would have to pick it back up and swing it again because
It,
there's the something called the backswing in combat.
mm.
Was like again, I've lived a very interesting life, which is when you swing the sword, and then you have to reset it so you can attack again. You can't just like swing back. Your body's not meant to go forwards and backwards at the same time.
Mm.
In fact, that's a major point of footwork in combat. You can't move forwards and backwards. You have to commit to attacks. There's no attack you can make without leaving yourself vulnerable. That's why shields are important, because you can attack while holding the shield up. But I mean, that's why video games are so stupid. You can only block or attack. Like, no, you would hold the shield as you're attacking. There's no fucking way you would swing your shield out all the way to the behind you and left. If you look at Dark Souls, it's like way over here. Like, what are you, an idiot? Hold that thing up and strike.
But
Anyway,
yeah,
so but it wouldn't work in fantasy mechanics because the shields would be so powerful all the time.
But yeah,
Anyway, yeah. So the sword would have to set again. There's just no way to pick that sword up fast enough to get another swing in.
Yeah.
Ever.
So yeah,
even if you were to literally spin in circles, it would just fly out of your hands anyway.
Yeah. So he it's standing there. That's what it looks like. So what would you like to do next?
Hovering.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not really hovering. It's more like it's on the very tip.
Yeah, it's very edge of it, and it's like somehow perfectly balanced.
Yes.
And the soldiers, I'm guessing, what time is it?
It's getting close to.
So I literally have like seconds, and I grab my sword.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab my sword, and he didn't put a name on it, right?
No. He does kind of reach over and hand you a inscribing tool. It's like, it's your sword. It's your word.
Okay. So I kneel down in front of my sword, and I say a prayer, actually. So like, I don't know how this works, but whoever's listening, and whoever did this to me, whoever, what happened, or anything, whatever karmic or powerful forces there are in the universe, I hope I'm doing the right thing, if there is even a right thing. And then I just start carving the word courage into the sword very quiet, very efficiently, and very quietly and very slowly. The only thing people can hear is probably the soft scraping of metal on metal, and the ding 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 of me making it deeper. Like the tap sound you would get when you're like tapping on metal with a spike. I guess you wouldn't know that either. Again, it just kind of sounds very quiet.
Yeah.
It's loud, like you think. It's very light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, dope.
Okay, and then I do that, and then I stand up, and it's perfectly centered. I'm imagining. Then I grab the sword, and I grip it with both hands, and I lift it up.
It's somehow, despite being bigger than it was before, with more metal added, it feels lighter in your hands somehow.
It literally is bigger than me now.
Yeah, though it's.
Yeah, I literally had to reach. Grab it.
Though even if you do like put it down slightly, you can tell it is heavy from the fact that you're like, when you put it down, the weight of the air that it's displaced, like the thud of placing it down.
It's so heavy. It's like putting down a large dead man.
Yeah,
it's like,
but it's.
I guess you wouldn't know what that like either. It's just like anyway. So.
I have learned to fight. By the way, the weight of a dead man. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, it's not heavy to you, but it seems heavy in general.
So yeah. All right. So yeah, I pick it up and I raise it up into the air, and I'm like, "You are courage without." And I'm guessing people cheer now because there's hundreds of them.
Yes.
or whatever number you want to give me.
People have started. Then it's not hundreds because it's like one city at the moment, but yeah,
Not
there's
only that, but it's all that want to fight
yeah.
for me, who have my principles and ideals in mind. Not just they're not coming to my banner because they want to fight for me, but because they want to fight for the ideals I have: protection, conflict, professional war, that kind of thing. To not only just fight, but to be mediate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone who wants to fight for other people.
There is a bit of a cheer and some clapping. There's very loud clapping. There's like a little bit of a cheer, and then there's just clapping, and you do see the person it's coming from.
Yeah. Is it easy?
No. Easy is he is there, but he's standing back, like he's letting this moment play out. No, this clapping is coming from. Yeah, hang on a second. Just remember his. Oh yes, this
Oh,
is.
you actually have someone in mind, huh?
Oh yes, well this person is someone that you know, because he's standing there. And where is my brain? Oh, I know this guy. Like I literally. Oh yeah, that's right. So my sorry. This is Benny Foreman is standing,
Oh,
like
right.
at the front.
It's Benny Foreman. I forgot. Yeah, because he has my ideals.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's and he's standing there at the front and he's clapping, and like there's like a crowd of people behind him from all different kind of like environments. Yeah.
Some of them have weapons, but most of them just are here to.
Yeah.
They had to come.
Most of them are just there. So there's
They
like
had to fight. They had to come. They had to do something about this world they're in. You know, like I usually feel. So yeah, there's a bunch of there, and like Benny Foreman. I just lay the weapon over my shoulder like fucking Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. I walk over to them like, "Hey guys, you here to join up?"
So hang on. Let's see how many people.
Kind of like that moment in I forget what it's called, that movie, but it's like it's Vietnam. Welcome to Nam, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also when they agree, they say, "Then welcome to hell." You know. What happened? 108.
108.
That's not as bad size. That's literally a mob and a little bit more. Like a vast mob, not a small mob, I believe. A vast mob is 96 people. Well, a small mob is 12, right?
Yeah.
I got the backwards on it. A vast mob is 48. Something like that. There's a lot of people.
So about 2 vast mobs of people. But so yeah. There's. Then Foreman gives a little bow to you and's like, "I just thought that I should be here."
Well, I'm very grateful for your presence, Foreman. As you can see, we're having a little party. Everyone want to get together and have a good talk and speak with Justice herself.
He just look around. There may be a little too many of us for all at once, but perhaps we can arrange a little something. And he smiles.
I think we can. There's plenty of city out there to go party in,
or
at least enjoy ourselves.
You're getting a feeling from the sword as you're like talking to a large group of people. It's like you're feeling a swelling inside you.
Good. All right, everyone. Stand at attention, please, and do not mistake my severity for brevity. This is a good time. This is a happy time. We might all be under the duress of death. We might all be suffering in some way, but we all personally know that there is something out there worthy of being protected, worthy of deserving of life, and most importantly, there are enemies worth putting fear into. Like all of you to join me in a simple prayer. I want you to say with me now. And I lift my sword up. And I say, I want to say go fuck yourself, but I can't do it. I can't bring myself to it. I know she would want to. And I know I want to. No, that she can't be the statement. I'm going to literally say it, and I don't care what anyone thinks. For one and one for all.
And you hear in your head not just out in your ears. Well,
But
all for one and one for all, and you know that in that moment it's almost like a prayer to you.
yes,
It's
it is.
it's a prayer of your people, and you hear it when they say those words. Um,
It's really it really is poignant and it's really perfect. And I
yeah.
didn't mean. I like the Musketeers took it from someone else. I'm sure.
I'm sure they did. And the Three Musketeers are actually terrible fucking people, so it's better that they give us something good.
Not only that, but Musketeers in general weren't good people.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
weren't.
No, they really weren't.
I mean, didn't the Three Musketeers literally murder a woman in cold blood by hanger from a tree? They're not good people.
The original stories were nasty, but yeah, so yeah, it's would you like to stop there? Because I feel that's a good thematic place to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing we're gonna do left is take everybody out to dinner and
Yeah.
fun in a show and enjoy ourselves and be like,
Yeah.
hey, the new goddesses of justice, one all for one and one for all, and most importantly, gonna thank Smithson, Odessa, and Easy and let them know there's more to come.
Okie doke.
My sword.
Yeah, do you want to give me a second? I need to do something real quick.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll go grab it. I just need to finish something up real quick.
Won't be there?
No, it's not much. Okay, sorry. So the sword is a +2 weapon.
You have like a. Ooh, well, 1 second. Do you want to like write it all down so you don't?
I'm afraid I've really got to go really soon. There was just a knock at the door. I need to head off. So I'll write it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you want to copy it or send me it later or something?
Well, no. I'll basically I've got the stuff for it now. So it's a +2 weapon, and it has it is something that you have to bond with, which means that in order to use it, it does like take an effort to bond with it. But it does have an effort in it.
Okay.
And effectively, this is it has a greater gift in it.
Okay, so it has an effort. It takes an effort to have it.
Yeah, so it's got one effort to replace the one it takes.
Okay.
So it's got so it's a +2 weapon. It's got an effort in it, and here we are. I'll just copy this. And you can name this effect whatever you desire.
Okay.
Commit effort for the day. Your voice or music becomes an unstoppable wave of sonic destruction. All stone, glass, wooden, or metal constructions larger than the suit of armor are blown apart in front of you. In front 20 feet wide and 50 feet long per level. Enemies within the zone suffer 1 point of damage per character level, or 1d6 straight per level for mobs. You may narrow the effects area to spare individual objects.
Excellent.
So, yes. You basically get a foghorn attack.
I'm gonna call it Voice of the Masses.
Lovely. I think it fit like that. I'm going to stop the recording now. So unless there's anything else you want to say before the stop.
No, that's perfect.
Okay. Then I'll.
Everybody, take care, and I love you.